Well, here we are at Icebox Canyon. This is one of the most popular hiking areas in Red Rock Canyon, and believe it or not, the parking area is entirely empty. It's about 6:15 in the morning on a Saturday, first Saturday in April. So Icebox Canyon is actually a great second canyon, as we're talking about the canyons at the base of the Rainbow Mountains. We're looking at the Rainbow Mountains here, and you see on your left of the canyon's in the center, and on your left is Bridge Mountain. Let's get a closer shot of Bridge Mountain. There we go. Right in the center there is Bridge Mountain. Get even closer. Okay, and on the right is Buffalo Wall. So we'll look at that, and you can see a pretty vertical cliff there. And then Icebox Canyon itself is a couple miles round trip, and you can see that at the end of the canyon you reach a rather vertical area. And to make it a little more challenging, which we will not do today, is that there's ice and snow on that vertical cliff area. So we're just going to go up Icebox Canyon and just as I mentioned, Icebox Canyon is probably the second canyon if you have not done canyons at the base of the Rainbow Mountains. What you're going to experience in these canyons is brush, and sometimes that brush is so thick you can hardly find a way through it, and boulders, and the boulders can be very slick, and if they're wet, if it's rained in the last 24 hours, you might not want to climb over those boulders because it's like an ice skating rink, and there are ledges to climb. So these canyons can be rather challenging. The reason I said it's the second canyon is that a good first canyon is in the Willow Spring area, Lost Creek Canyon, and that gives you a little introduction to the canyons. Icebox Canyon would be next, and then as you increase the complexity of these canyons in the Rainbow Mountains, Pine Creek Canyon might be next, and then Oak Creek Canyon, and finally First Creek Canyon. Now Pine Creek Canyon is between Rainbow, no, it's just on the other side of these mountains, the Bridge Mountain. So Pine Creek Canyon's on the other side of Bridge Mountain, and it's between Bridge Mountain and Rainbow Mountain. And then as you go further down, there's Juniper Canyon, which is on the other side of Rainbow Mountain, the south side of Rainbow Mountain. And then there is, let's see, Juniper Canyon, and then Oak Creek Canyon, which is between Rainbow Mountain and Mount Wilson, and then First Creek Canyon, which is south of Mount Wilson, between Mount Wilson and Indecision Peak, as you go down south along the Rainbow Mountains. Anyway, here we are at Icebox Canyon. Nice little trail, approach trail getting to the canyon. We'll take a look at what challenges await. And this approach trail is easy enough, but notice there are a few rocks beginning to appear, and this is a wash that is crossing the trail, there we're looking up toward Willow Spring area, and to the right of that, and this is the north end of Red Rock Canyon, to the right is White Rock Mountain, and then to the left, here we are at Icebox Canyon, and those mountains in between. You notice the cliffs on the north end of Red Rock Canyon. Those are the La Madre Mountain cliffs. And looking here to the right is El Padre Mountain, I believe, and then to the left, that cliff area, is El Bastardo. I may be wrong on that. And then you can see the tip of Turtle Head Peak. So that gives you an idea where we are. Okay, but let's go ahead and continue on up this nice little trail. It's going to get evil very soon. And we cross some washes, series of washes that come down from those La Madre Mountains. And this is the first wash. And of course, when you're in these washes, the trail momentarily disappears, and you just want to watch for one of these little signs on the other side of the wash. Pretty much how it is all throughout Red Rock Canyon and these trails. Beautiful little stairway. This is nice. Beats trying to climb this area without any stairs. And Pine Creek Canyon, the next canyon south, is already filled with cars because, at least the trailhead is, because that's a very popular rock climbing destination, world class. Okay, continuing on here toward Icebox Canyon. And here's the connector trail coming up. There are a number of trails going north, south, along the base of the Rainbow Mountains. This is the SMYC trail, which takes you up to the Willow Spring area, and there's the Knoll Trail and the Dales Trail. And here's the Dales Trail. That's the next one, continuing on south along the base of the Rainbow Mountains. So if you ever want to just hike the base of the Rainbow Mountains, you can do that the whole way in Red Rock Canyon with these trails. And notice how as we approach the canyon, the vegetation changes. Lush, pine, and we're getting into a forest here. Very beautiful. Very different from the stark landscape in the center of Red Rock Canyon and along the east side. It almost seems as if this trail doubles as a creek bed during very wet weather. Okay, now we find ourselves beginning to climb over a few boulders, still rather tame. And notice here how the brush is getting a little thicker. And this is just the beginning. And these rocks, when they are dry, they still have a very thin film of sand and dust covering them, and that can make them fairly slick even when they're dry. When they're wet, as I mentioned, it's like an ice skating rink. And I mentioned brush, boulders, and ledges in these canyons. What you hear below us is the other challenge, which is running water. And we're going to be encountering that and navigating the creek, trying to keep our feet dry, because you get your feet wet and the boulders become pretty slick. But look how beautiful this is here. And there's Turtle Head Peak right in the center. Red Rock Canyon. Ridge Mountain. Buffalo Wall up in that direction. Icebox Canyon straight ahead. Well, this is nice where there's a potential confusion whether to go to the right or the left. It's a little sign pointing to the left to stay on track. Now, further up the canyon, those decisions will not be aided by a sign. And here's a shot down into the canyon. We'll be at the base of the canyon fairly soon, navigating all that water that we're hearing. This is like an entirely different world from the center of Red Rock Canyon. And there you can see ahead in the distance. Look at the difference. Turtle Head Peak. But look at the canyon, how stark it is. And then look around us here. Water and a little more shade makes such a difference. Okay, again, you can see and hear the creek below. Got a pretty healthy flow. And as the canyon narrows ahead, we are going to be navigating that creek, trying to keep our feet dry. Okay, here's where we begin to descend into the base of the canyon, where we're going to find the brush and the boulders and the water. Notice how the brush has grown around us until there's quite a wall on either side. Okay, now the party's over. We're into a dramatic descent to the base of the canyon and the stream. And you can see the canyon is narrowing above, and you can see the end there that is pretty vertical. Let's just get a look around. There we're looking into the rising sun. But yeah, you can see the nature of these cliffs around us. And down we go. Okay, here we are at the creek, at the base of the canyon. And now, where I spoke about navigating brush, boulders, and water, here's where that begins. A lot of people turn around at this point, and we'll just check this out, see how far we can get and remain with dry feet, because as soon as you attempt to climb the rocks ahead, if your feet are wet, they're very slick. So the question here, and at so many other places, is whether to find a way along the left or the right side of the creek. Still trying to keep my feet dry. Okay, left side does it for now. Yeah, I think the right side would have given out. A little brush tunnel, but definitely this is the route. Yep, we're still in the game here. Looks like I've got a route straight up ahead through the brush and the boulders. Okay, now we're ascending a welcome high and dry road to the left of the creek. A lot of water in the creek on April 1st, and it's been a very wet winter following years of drought, actually. And so still there are the choices. Go this way or this way. I think I'm going to pick this way because it appears to be more well-traveled. Yes. I understand there's a huge waterfall at the end of this canyon. And so we'll see if we get up that far. And by the way, it is spring, and if you were to attempt this in the fall, it might be a little drier, but all this brush will have been growing all through the summer with all this water. And so you're going to be working your way through a lot more tight brush. And now it looks like the thing to do in this tight spot, if you're going to keep your feet dry, is to cross on this plank. We don't know how that's going to go. There are some other options down below, but let's just see. This is not going to be a hold your camera spot. Yeah, I went out and found a nicer rock crossing below that precarious branch crossing. So continuing on, let's hope this side of the creek continues for a while. These rocks that are worn by water indicate that the water level was as high as these rocks at one time. So don't be here during a flash flood. Okay, here we are at a quiet little spot, and it's definitely time to ditch the trekking poles. In fact, I should have left them at the car. Give you an idea where we are. Huge boulders up in this direction, but it looks as if there is a way right up these rocks. So forgive me if I put the camera down at this point. I think I'm going to need both my hands. Here's a nice little high road. Brief class 3 climb up this rock. Not too bad, actually, but don't do it when it's wet. But here's a little class 3 climb we just took up to this point. See the pond below, the stream running beneath us now. Quite a ways down there. And then this next corner, and maybe we'll see the waterfall at the end of this. So let's take this little ledge here. Let's see what's around the corner. Oh wow, look at this. Yeah, there's the waterfall at the end. Yeah, and in case you were planning on going beyond the end of the canyon, you might want to have some serious rock climbing experience equipment and buddies. Wow, look at this. These guys up ahead are not going to give up. Wow. I don't think I'm going to follow them. It looks like they might be turning around too. Well, here we are, having successfully emerged from Icebox Canyon. See Red Rock Canyon ahead. And that's proof that even on April 1st, with a lot of fresh snow melt, a lot of rains, precipitation in the preceding weeks, you can still navigate Icebox Canyon. And coming out was a lot quicker than going in. Closing in on the Icebox Canyon parking area. Notice the difference between now, it's about 1 o'clock, and when we arrived here about 7 o'clock.